Hello, everybody, and welcome to Crucible. Today's podcast is called The Show Must Go On. That's a saying in showbiz, from the stage to the big screen, but it has a different translation when you really apply it to real life. Our guest today is Becky Williams, and she took that saying, the show must go on, to an entirely different level. Her story is truly inspiring. On this episode, we will learn how to make a commitment to yourself. You will learn about building a strong community of support and of improving your overall quality of life. We all face challenges, crucibles in life that make us or break us. What matters is how we respond to such roadblocks. That's really what defines us. Through inspirational stories from all walks of life, this podcast will provide you with techniques to overcome and grow from life's most challenging experiences. Becky is currently the theater teacher at Independence High School in Thompson Station, Tennessee, where I had the distinct privilege to teach with her in the sunset of my career prior to my retirement. She got her Bachelor of Arts at Concordia College, and crazy coincidence, student taught at Oak Park, River Park High School when my daughter-in-law was in high school at Oak Park. So welcome, Becky.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing great, and thanks for doing this, especially over your lunch hour. I know you're super busy.
Well, I'm happy to. It's so good to see you.
I know, it's great to see you too. I was going to share just, and I'll let you take it from here, how we know each other.
Oh, well, we started working together in, was that 2010? Fall of 2010, yeah. I was the theater teacher and you were the choir teacher, and we were a force to be reckoned with. Really built our programs. And I remember the first time we met, we became friends immediately, and I'm pretty sure we went shopping in downtown Franklin together.
Yes, had lunch. Yeah.
Yes.
Or coffee. I can't remember.
Yes. I forget, maybe Merides or something. Then we went shopping and became fast friends, grew our departments together because I'd only been here a year before that. And then I think worked together for 5 whole years and had amazing, crazy life things happen, and just had a great rapport and a great time together.
Absolutely. And what a way for me. I mean, it was sad to leave when I did, and I felt so convicted, by God to be there for my grandkids. But wow, and I'm going to get emotional, not you here. It'll be me first, but it was such a good ride, and what a way to finish my career. So I thank you for that.
Absolutely. It was a great time. I still miss you to this day, but glad that we are still connected.
Yes, we are. Very much so. And I have to give another shout out to you because at Independence, I was so shocked when I came to Tennessee that show choirs were not a big deal here. And coming from the Midwest, where it was like a force to be reckoned with, at some of these schools, it would rival their football team, which is saying a lot, as you know how big football is everywhere. But I gone to your first theater party, and you introduced me to all of your clan, and your groupies, which was super, super sweet. And then Glee had just come out, I think a year or two before that or something. Mm-hmm. And all your kids were so excited to, think about, we could do Glee. And then we started the choreography, and they're like, oh, my right foot? Oh, what's a jazz square? It was like, oh no, this is going to be really, really, really hard. But we pulled it off, and your kids, we shared kids and shared the stage, shared everything. So I just give you that, shout out, because those kids went on and won that grand championship that first year. And I remember Todd and our principal in our last meeting going, congratulations to this person, all these awards. And then congratulations to Mary Lee. I think she won something really big this weekend. And it was I just died laughing because it was like, yeah, it was pretty big. We beat everybody. We beat everybody in the whole United States that ever performed there. And we had almost like a perfect score. So it was like for a first year group team, sports, it was amazing. So
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. I miss those days. I miss that group of kids. We had such great kids.
we did. Yeah, that made it a lot easier. And you look at where they've gone and what they've gone on to do, it's really truly amazing. And I know that a lot of them learned their, the rehearsal procedures, basically, how to rehearse for me and you, break it down, let's do it again, break it into smaller parts. Okay, you guys go out there, let's come back together. I mean, it's the same principle, whether it's sports or music or your job or your life, or whatever. So, but I don't want to go on and on about that. I want to hear your story. So you are on a journey and you look fantastic. And Becky, I've always loved you no matter what. Just know that. I thought you were always beautiful. And I always saw you, those little heart emojis in my eyes. So anyway, so yeah. So tell me about your story.
Well, I mean, oh, it's such a story, I think. But well, I've dealt, like with so many of us, we always got something we deal with. And mine has been my weight since I was a little girl. I think I remember becoming really cognizant of having an issue with weight when I was probably in like first grade, which is crazy because that's where my sweet Emerson is now. She's in second grade now. So, but she's at that age, and it's crazy to think that where my mind was in understanding, that I was bigger than other girls and all of that. And, and it just was from there on throughout my whole life was just like, was an issue or was present. I don't want to say it was always an issue, but definitely something that I dealt with. And sometimes was harder that days or periods of time than others. And always something I felt like I was battling or about to battle or had just failed battling. And then almost exactly 6 months ago, my whole life changed. So
wow, 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. So tell us what you did.
Well, I've done everything in the whole process, approaching weight loss from every different angle. And then I think maybe a few years ago, weight loss surgery was brought up, and I just, was like, no, not my thing, not going to do it. And then my, people in my life had it and were really encouraging about it. And I still was like, nope, not going to do it, to the point where I was getting kind of annoyed when it got brought up. And, the last 5 years, as have been kind of a whirlwind with the loss of both of my parents and some major struggles, and for all of us with the pandemic. And there was just one day about a year ago that I was just talking to my sister about it today, where it was mentioned to me. And I once again was like, ugh, like I just said, yeah, I'll look into it, knowing full well I wasn't going to. And then I don't know, one night in January last year, like at the beginning of this year, I was sitting on the couch talking to my husband, Brian, and I was like, I'm just going to see if insurance covers it. And that changed my whole life, because I found out insurance covered it. That night it was literally 11 o'clock at night, and I made an appointment with Vanderbilt, and I was like, I'm just going to see, let's just see what happens. And all of a sudden, the very journey that I said would never be part of my story has become my story. And I went through the whole process. And on June 11th, 2021, I had surgery, and it's been almost 6 months, and I've lost 120 pounds. And it has been the wildest, hardest, most challenging thing that I think maybe I have ever done. And things I thought are so far from the truth. But it's been a journey, and one that I'm glad I have taken, and I'm glad to be on, even on the hard days.
Oh, good for you. Did you face any peer pressure or social pressure prior to doing this, other than the
like
people
just
you knew had done it? Or I don't know. Sometimes people preconceive ideas
oh
about
yeah.
different things, and I didn't know if
Oh yeah.
that happened.
I have been really fortunate to have such great support and love. And even like honestly, even just losing weight itself for me was not like, I've followed a lot of people and like they want to lose weight for this or that or whatever. And the only reason I guess I had to lose weight was for me. Like there was no pressure from anyone to do that. I've been very loved and very fortunate and have reached so many different successes. I have two amazing kids. I have an amazing relationship with my husband and friends and support. I have all of that. So, I think when I finally did decide to go this route, the only thing I really faced was like people just being like genuinely just, concerned and not negative about it, but just like, okay, if you're sure, like we're going to support you. And that's what I've got. And it's been really cool. Like, I've read stories and I've seen stories, where people were faced with a lot of negativity when they decided to go this route. But I've been really fortunate, and even people like I haven't hidden the fact of what I've done. And not for any reason, like one, I'm not embarrassed by it. Like I'm not, none of that. It was what I had to do, to have a better quality of life. And I've only been met with like lots of like, wow, like, I know this must be hard or good for you, or I'm so proud of you. I'm so encouraged by you. And it just makes it even more awesome that I'm on this side of it. But no negativity. I think a little bit of hesitation from some people who are just, just nervous and stuff. But for the most part, no, everyone has been incredible.
That's awesome. And community is really so important. And having that support, I know that working with my clients, when they make the decision like you did. And then, and part of my prep before they go on our program is to make sure that they do have support from their spouse, from their family. And the people that don't inevitably just don't make it because they're just constantly fighting that voice, that's out there, that negativity. And so I'm really happy for you. Congrats. That's great. And I know you surround yourself with positive people and positive vibes and, all of that. And that's super important just in life to have a good mindset,
Yeah, I agree. And it's been great to have that because you're right. Like, I mean, there's so many times I think it's easy to get derailed but once you find what is going to be your path and having people who are going to cheer you on is crucial. And I've never been short of a cheer squad, I guess, but I think it took for me to be committed to this process. And it has been cool. And I still like, even today was like, I still can't believe I did it. Like I can't believe I did something because I'm pretty set on like, if I'm not going to do something, I'm not going to do it. And I was not going to do weight loss surgery. But I think after learning a lot in my process and learning like what I wanted from life, I don't want to say it was an easy decision because that's the furthest thing it was an easy decision, but when you're a big girl at 5-6 years old, it's really hard to unlearn those habits and those coping mechanisms and that comfort, what you have created as a source of comfort, and then going through major losses and hardship and things like that. I was like, when's it going to happen? And then I, was hitting 40 and things change when you hit 40, and
True. Yeah.
My kids deserved the best part of me. My husband did, my students, and I deserved it. So I was like, well, why wait? And then, then I did the surgery, and then it was, it hasn't been all roses. It was the hardest thing I've ever done. And it took me a bit to get through it. But at this point, 6 months out, I'm like, okay, there are still hard days, but I'm not
worth it. Yeah.
I'm not trying to look up reversals anymore, which I was for a while.
Yeah. I get it. I get it. So tell me about, some of your struggles. You don't have to, you can go as deep as you want.
Like since surgery or just in general?
Yeah. Well, just like immediately after you had surgery, I can't imagine, what you have to go through.
It's, I was one of those who had, and I hate even admitting this, but I think it's important to, like, we have our preconceived notions about everything, right? Like, I'm sure people have preconceived notions about me when I was at my highest at 388, like, and like thinking I'm like some kind of like, lazy person or whatever. And as you know, I'm literally nonstop.
No. But, yeah.
Yeah. And carrying it all around. But I had my preconceived notions of like what I thought surgery was, and like that it was this easy way out, or that, whatever it was. And it was so dumb of me to think that, because I've now, having gone through the process, and it's a fairly rigorous in terms of like, there's a lot of, a lot of things to accomplish in your journey to even get approved and all of that. Like, and for somebody to say, yes, you're a great candidate. And then I got to, you do like 2 weeks before, well, for me, it was 2 weeks before I had to go on this liquid diet, and they tell you it's a mental struggle, right? They talk a lot about that, but you don't know what a struggle is until you're going through it.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty positive. I try to keep a really optimistic outlook, and definitely deal with my own, anxiety and depression and things like that. But this was something I've never faced before. And I started like second guessing it, like right before, I've been so excited and so ready for this new life. And I don't know what it was, but my brain only knew what it knew. And I couldn't unknow. And I'm like, but I'm smart. I can wrap my brain around this. And I couldn't. And literally, excuse me, to the point where my doctor was ready to be like, maybe we need to pause. And because I had so much anxiety and so many questions and so many whatever. And that part's normal for me. I'm good at questioning decisions, but not like this. And, I went in and I was like, no, I'm ready. It's good. I know that this is just my brain trying to like trick me and just not eating and freaking out and whatever. But then I had the surgery and I was good. And then I got home and I went to a place I have likened it to, I don't think I've experienced anything this awful since the loss of my parents. It was hard, and it was just, and no one could tell me otherwise. And it seemed weird because it was like, am I ever going to enjoy food again? Are things ever going to be normal? Have I made this huge mistake? Like, because for so long, and I'm sure it seems weird to even say, but for so long, like food was such a part of my life, and I didn't know what it was going to look like, and I didn't know, I started reading a lot, and I started following a lot of people on social media, which is the dumbest thing I could have done in my state. I
understand. Yeah.
And you try to find, if you want to find something to tell you that your fears are valid, you can find it. And that's what I was doing. And instead of finding the positive stories and all of that, I was finding reasons to lose my mind and get freaked out, and just thinking that there was going to be no joy. And that seems weird to be like, oh, it's because of food. Well, you must have had a food addiction. Well, yeah, I guess maybe. But even more than that, like I said, I only knew what I knew. And it was a scary new world. And not knowing that, like in my mind, I'm like, oh, I'm only going to be able to, even when you, on any like healthy nutrition plan, you're like, I can only eat this and blah, blah, blah. And we wrap our head around that, but it's like, yeah, but that's all you need. And I didn't know that. I'd be okay. And that's scary. And so it took me a bit. Vanderbilt was incredible. And I, got to talk to some amazing people. And when you're already like predisposed to things like I was, and I wasn't like, I just was like, I'm just not going to be happy again, which is crazy because I'm so happy now.
Yeah.
But they were like, when you're already predisposed to things like anxiety, and then you go through a major life change, whether it's loss or like another kind of hardship or something like this, all it's doing is holding a megaphone up to those anxious feelings. And I was like, oh, okay. So something that was already kind of crazy and scary was being exacerbated by just who I am, this dramatic, crazy lady. And so, anyway, so I don't know. There was just like, there was a few conversations that I had, in the weeks following, and I just started seeing the other side of the fog I was in, and things started clearing. And it was simple things like, reading about a woman who had lost a lot of weight. And I honestly don't even know how she lost it all, but then she gained it back. And I'm like, but that's my whole goal, is not to gain it back. Like, why am I focused on what I can't have when I have this whole life ahead of me? And I don't even know what that's going to be like how great it's going to be to sit cross-legged on a chair, and, to run after my kids and to have this kind of energy. And, and so I got through it. And I think when you refocus and you realize what your goal is, it really helps you realign yourself.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally understand. And I've got lots of clients. Probably my most successful guy had lost 185 pounds. Wow. And he was so happy took a picture and sent it to me. I'm I'm on the airplane and I don't have a belt extender. And he was just so thrilled. And he saved his belt that he wore from when I think he started at 385, maybe something like that, and got down to 200 and was just amazing. But same thing, went through all those changes, kind of, it is like a grief, because you're grieving through the loss of kind of like who you were and what you look like. He had to redevelop his whole entire body image. I'm no longer that person. I look in the mirror and it's like, I don't know who I'm seeing. It's somebody new, and so that in such a good way was somewhat freaking him out, and so he saved his belt and he showed it to me and took a picture, it's like, please don't post any of this stuff. It's like, I won't. And then he got into biking and was biking like 60 to 70 miles a day across Nebraska, Missouri, kind of like the plains, the heartland, and was such an incredible story. But I can ditto everything that you just said that we had talked about together. And I'm no psychologist, all I can do is just give him, reassurance and encouragement. So I'm so happy that you were, able to work with the best. I really think Vanderbilt is the best, medical place that we have here. And probably I'd say in the entire area, not just Tennessee, but they're stellar.
Yeah, they really are. They were great.
So, do you go back for counseling, or do you weigh in every week, or what is your process now then? And then how many pounds, are you where you want to be? Are you still wanting to lose weight, I guess?
Personally, I weigh myself every day. Mm-hmm. I'm sure some people will be like, that's good or bad, whatever, but you got to do what you got to do. And for me, it really helps. And
me too.
Yeah, it gets me up in the morning, so I get pretty pumped about it. And even now, as there are more days that my weight will stay the same or barely move, but then there's days where it starts dropping again. And it's been encouraging for me, and discouraging in the right ways, to keep me on track. But I go back to Vandy like every 3 months. And then I don't know after the first year, but like I just did my 6-month appointment, and then I'll have another one at 9 months. And they just make sure, everything is looking good. Cause there are definitely some, because for me, my stomach is smaller. And so I have to make sure that all my levels are right and that I'm doing the right things, which, sometimes it's easy to get off track because I work, quite a bit, and
And you work crazy hours.
Yes. And just
You're at
making sure you
school like
take care of
16 hours
yourself.
a day.
Yeah, no kidding. And I think no matter what your process is, I think it's really easy to forget to, focus in on you and taking care of yourself. And I mean, obviously that's probably how I got here in the first place. And so, but they've been really great about it. And, yeah, they've been really awesome. And then what was your second question?
Well, just do you want to stop where you're at with your weight, or you want to continue losing, or what's your goal?
I want to continue. I don't have like a goal in mind. I mean, I've been like, oh, I want to be here, 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 wherever. I just keep setting new things for myself little by little. Like ultimately, I think a lot of people say this, but it's so true. Like you just want to be healthy. Like I don't have my number right now is like I said, I wanted to be like to lose about 40 or 50 more pounds or something like that, because that would put me at the highest or at the lowest weight I've been since I was 18. And
wow,
right, like as an adult, and that would be really cool. But even where I'm at now, it's the smallest I've been since moving to Nashville 15 years ago. And, so I ultimately, I mean, it'd be cool to see like 199, but I don't know. I don't know what this body wants. And so I'm just going to keep taking care of it, until it is, we settle somewhere. And, but I definitely, I know there are things, I think it's more about what can I do? I want to, Emerson, you've seen probably the videos of her running. That girl is a
yes.
runner. I somehow this artsy girl has got 2 athletic children, but I want to keep up with them. Like she's got a roller skating party this weekend, and I don't ever want to hesitate of like participating in my life again. I don't think I can't believe that. Oh, Lordy, I can't believe my life has been so good in so many ways and just keeps getting better. And like, how fortunate am I, like, even through like the super hard crap, that now I get like this new opportunity and not have like the less I have to fear, I think is where I will feel my best, and, before, I had surgery, like, in the last several years, both of my parents died, like, from complications of heart issues. And not that they both dealt with weight issues, but if I was already going to be dealing with that, I don't want to deal with that. Like I remember once I was having a flat out panic attack, but in my mind, I was having a heart attack at like 36 years old. That's so dumb. Like that is not the life I am meant to live. And those were parts of the things on this journey that pushed me here. And same thing with like, we're in a pandemic where, it's one of the things we heard very first were about comorbidities. Well, I know what a comorbidity is. And I know one of the main ones that complicates everything is weight. And we've heard that time in and time out. Like, I don't want to die from, some disease or some virus or whatever because of my weight. Like, no, I don't want to die at all. But like, I didn't want to be sitting through fear. And I did that in March, April, May, and so on in 2020. And that's not what I wanted. So the ultimate goal, and I feel like I'm getting there every day, is to have so much less fear and to be so much more present. So it might not be a number, but it's definitely something that I know I'll know when that is, when I'm there. Done. Yeah. So
I love that. And not being on the sidelines of your life. That was a great quote. I love that. And it's easy to do when a lot of people hide behind their children during the holidays, in family pictures. Oh, here, they grab the kid, they grab the dog, they grab the, whatever, so that they're not recording basically the whole entire holiday because they don't want pictures of them to be seen, And I understand both sides of that. I've been on both sides of that. But yeah, is it worth sidelining your life? I don't know. For me, it's not. And I've worked through a lot of things as well. And I've realized that I'm an emotional eater and went back to probably just an eating disorder that I developed when I was 13, and again, lost my dad, you know, in a sudden poof, he was gone. None of us got to say goodbye to him. And that was it. And that fear at age 13 of my mom taking over our restaurant, what are we going to do? I ended up getting shingles that summer. I had it on, you're supposed to you only get it on one side of your body. Well, I had it on not only my front, but I had it on my back. So it wrapped all the way around my body. And this was during the summer. There was nothing I could do to make it go away. Now you can, there's all sorts of stuff, but I lost 20 pounds. I mean, it was the worst time of my life. And I realized at that point I was really, truly invisible to my mom because she was just literally hanging on, trying to survive because she now was running, my dad's restaurant. And it was, I've equated our restaurant to like Sperry's. It was kind of an old established steakhouse type, situation. And I, of course, got to go work. Oh, yay. And I got to do the dishes. And when nobody show up, guess who got to go in? I go in and fill in. And that was like every weekend, every Saturday, every Sunday, for at least 3 years, and then I graduated to being the hostess. And I thought I died and gone to heaven, but meanwhile, I'm making up for all that, basically being overlooked in my life, by being an overachiever. And that's when it all started. And like Emerson, it's like I discovered I was really good at running. And it was, my mom came to all my music things and church things. I was involved, had solos and stuff through church, my first solo ever. And, but it was at a track meet that she came and I won by quite a ways. And it was, I think only in that time it was yards. So 880, I don't even think they had a mile. And, and it was she was just shocked, and she came up with all these nicknames for me. And I was just yelling from that, how you can always hear your parents, and Emerson will remember this, right? If she does become this little big star, she'll hear you above, 5,000 people in that, grandstands or whatever in the stadium. So, and that was my case. But anyway, I've just had to work through all of that and realize that, you're right. Your self-happiness is the most important thing, and being healthy, is, I think, goes right, hand in hand with that.
Definitely. And you gotta get to the root of those issues too, I think. Because otherwise, things will creep back, like whatever it is, because I'm sure my weight was just one of the things that has come out, just dealing with different issues. But it's been a little difficult and also kind of cool just to see what the root of these issues are and like where this is all stemmed from. And, grew up without a lot, and food's both important and necessary, and fun and all the things. And just how to use food is just I think it can still be enjoyed, but I think looking at it as fuel for your body and just
fuel and not the salve to hurt or to heal whatever's hurting or whatever.
That it should be secondary. And I was at a place where it was first, and that seems weird. And but I'm sure a lot of people, if they think about it, understand like where, it was like, oh, well, where are we going to eat? Because I knew I could go out to eat and not have to worry about, like, I could celebrate or do whatever with my family by eating, instead of like, if we go for a family walk, I might get tired, or if, whatever. But, but that it was dependable and easy, and I needed it. So, but yeah, it's interesting to look at all of those issues, and, and now I still am going to be dealing with that for the rest of my life, but it definitely has helped me reshape and address some issues head on. And then I get the gift of even more quality of life. And I'm not going to argue with that ever. Get to front row seats to this life of mine. So,
right. And live longer. And see your kids grow up, see your kids get married, see your kids have grandchildren.
Yes, I know. And
got
it's
all
been
of that.
awesome. It's been, and already it's just been cool. I remember the other day I was running around with Lincoln, and I would do that before, I try to anyway, but I remember I ran around with him, he's like 5 and like has the energy of a gazillion
12-year-old.
Yeah, he's insane and such a fun guy. But he was running around, our downstairs area. All the rooms are all one big open room, so it's a huge area to run around in. And I just kept chasing him. I'm like, okay, at some point I got to get tired. Nope. And I was like, I'm not going to stop till I'm tired. And even Brian's watching me like, oh my gosh. And finally Lincoln goes, okay, I got to take a break.
Oh, like, that's great.
What is this life I'm living? And it was really cool. Yeah, it's been awesome. Congrats. Thank you. That was amazing. Worth it.
Yeah. Well, as we close, like, what would be 3 pieces of advice you would give people of either how to get through this or what to think of, or I don't know, how we can help people that are maybe contemplating the same thing?
Well, I think surgery is its own ordeal. And I think the biggest piece of advice for that is make sure you're ready, or as close to ready as you can get. But I think just in general, whether it is this or whatever else, I think you have to make sure you're putting yourself first. Because putting yourself first can also mean putting your family first and all those other things, because you have to be your best in order to be present in all of those areas. So I think really focusing on what do I need? Probably that's applicable in so many areas.
True. Yeah.
And then I think like what I said, like make sure you're ready. Because that's in anything, like if your mind is not set to it, you can't half but do things, you've got to commit. And then I think the thing that has been really hard for me is to know that I'm worth it. And I think we hear that a lot, like, oh, like we're worthy and we're worth it, but we can say it to the end of the day, but to actually believe that you are worth often so much more than you can ever imagine. I don't know, it's really cool. And we deserve that, and we get one chance at this life. And it's been really cool. Like I haven't lacked in a lot of things, I thought, but what a change that I have chosen for me has been really cool. And it's given me more than I thought, I didn't realize what I was missing. And that's awesome. Yeah. That's been really cool. And I even the things I've had this whole time, I can love even more because I have the space for it. And so, so I have rediscovered my worth, and that is a journey. And
that's worth it. Yeah. Well, and that's worth, that's more than gold, right?
Yeah.
That's right up there with your salvation, I think.
Right.
So, yeah.
Right. You're right. Like, and it is, and it's not that our value isn't even like the physical side of things. Oh, it is nice. Like you were talking about, like, I love taking a picture now and not hiding. Like that is pretty cool. I haven't done that in a long time, but just when you feel good to like your bones, like that is that is really cool. Not just the physical, that's great, but it's making those changes from the inside out are pretty fantastic.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, thanks so much for your time today, Becky. I know you've got kids coming in your room here soon, and you're still fighting the good fight. And I bet your program was amazing last weekend.
Yes. I got to get you back here to come see what we're doing next.
I know.
Yes.
I missed it. We had, I won't even go into what all I'm doing, but
we'll have to catch up over some coffee.
Yes, Amenities. That sounds great.
Yes.
So put in a plug for downtown Franklin, Tennessee. So
yes.
All right. Well, thanks so much. Love you, and just appreciate your openness and your heart. It's just beautiful.
Thank you. It's good to see you. I miss you.
I know. Miss you too.
Bye.
Okay. Bye-bye.